Imagine, just for a second, landing somewhere completely foreign, a world where everything you understand, everything, how people act, how society works, even how to stay alive is just useless.
Yeah, worse than useless, maybe even dangerous.
Exactly. That's pretty much the situation facing John Blackthorne in James Clavell's incredible book, Shogun.
It really throws you in at the deep end, doesn't it? He's this European pilot major shipwrecked in 17th century Japan.
A place that's beautiful, sure, but also incredibly perilous for an outsider like him. Now, if you're intrigued by these themes, cultural clashes, adaptation, you should definitely check out our YouTube channel, Mindful Moments.
Oh, yeah.
We use AI analysis to look deeper into books like Shogun, trying to spark reflection and, critical thinking beyond just this chat.
That's interesting. But yeah, the book itself, it plunges you straight into Blackthorne's nightmare. A huge storm, his fleet's gone, just one ship left, battered.
And the crew.
What's left of them are starving, dehydrated, just hanging on. And Blackthorne, he gets it instantly. He sees how different they look, how alien they are here.
And that difference gets used against them fast. There's a Portuguese priest right there on the shore.
Almost immediately, yeah. Brands them heretic Dutchmen, pirates. It's not just hostility, it flags up all the religious and political tensions simmering away.
Then the samurai arrives. Clavell really paints a picture there, doesn't he? The menace, the swords.
Oh, absolutely. And the way the local Japanese just instantly prostrate themselves, it's a stark visual of the power structure. Bam, you know where you stand. Or rather, where you kneel.
And Blackthorne's reaction inside. Pure panic. Especially about the ship's rudders, the navigational charts.
Right, because he has his own detailing, let's say, less than legal voyages, but also a stolen Portuguese one, the key to the Magellan Strait.
Which, in the hands of rivals,
is basically proof of piracy, or at least espionage. A death sentence from the Portuguese perspective, certainly. Huge risk.
It's interesting, though, his desperation versus his crew's motivation. Yeah. They weren't exactly explorers, were they?
Not really, no. They were after riches. The Japans, Cathay, they'd been hunted in the New World, apparently. And this was their big gamble. High stakes for huge rewards.
So their first real encounters with Japanese society must have been a shock.
A massive shock. They're terrified of... The samurai can't even say the word right. And they have this, naive hope the local lord, the daimyo, will just let them go.
Send them home rich.
Yeah, back to Holland, pockets full. They just don't grasp the social rules, the hierarchy.
Until they're forced to kneel. That must have hit hard.
Definitely. Kneeling is standard respect there, but for Blackthorne, it's degrading. He resists.
And gets forced down anyway.
Exactly. It hammers home the daimyo's absolute power and the rigid social structure. Very different from Europe.
And this daimyo, Yabu, he's interested in the ship, right? The barbarian ship.
His first focus, yeah. But then he questions the priest about Blackthorne, and the priest just lays it on thick, evil devil worship. The works.
Exploiting the religious angle.
Totally. Catholic Portugal versus Protestant Dutch and English. But interestingly, the Dutch Captain General Spilbergen gets worried later. He realizes the priest might have gone too far, stirred up trouble with the Jesuits.
And all this personal drama is happening against a backdrop of major political instability, isn't it? Lord Toranaga's situation.
Yeah, it's precarious. He's on the Council of Regents, but locked in a power struggle with his rival, Ishido. Plus, the heir's mother is basically a hostage. It's tense.
The book hints at the history, too, right? Shoguns holding the real power, the emperor becoming more symbolic.
It does, yeah. Sets the stage for the political games to come, understanding that power dynamic is key.
Meanwhile, the crew's situation gets even worse.
Utterly desperate. They actually draw lots to decide who faces. Well, they don't even know what danger. It shows how scared they are, how leadership is broken down. Even Spilbergen is shown as pretty weak.
And they start turning on each other, or at least blaming the English.
Yeah, there's this prejudice that bubbles up, calling the English mad pirates. It's maybe a way to cope, projecting their fear. Then finding that scared samurai prisoner with them. It's a strange parallel.
And that samurai tries to commit suicide.
In the latrine, yeah. It's a really jarring moment. Shows this incredibly different sense of honor and shame, completely foreign to the Europeans.
Blackthorne, though, he keeps pushing back against Omi's demands. Risky.
Very risky, but he's got this core of defiance. Then comes that horrific execution, Kurok being boiled alive.
Oh, that's brutal.
It's unforgettable, a raw lesson in the cruelty of this new reality. And Yabu just dismisses them, the Europeans. They're nothing compared to the ship's cargo, the guns, and money.
But then Hiromatsu arrives. That changes things, doesn't it?
Big time. He represents Lord Toranaga. Suddenly there's this rigid formality. Yabu puts on this exaggerated welcome.
The Hiromatsu cuts right through it.
Pretty much. He's blunt, loyal only to Toranaga. And his first move is to secure the ship and its contents, basically taking control from Yabu. Shows you where the real power lies.
And Blackthorne starts to adapt.
You see the beginnings of it. He cleans himself up, tries speaking some Japanese words. He's realizing, okay, I need to learn their ways to survive.
Though he still resists being tied up, clinging to his word being enough.
Yeah, that English pride, maybe. Or just not quite getting how things work there yet. We also get that flashback to his past, his piloting skills, his oath to the Dutch company. It shows his determination. He will get his ship back.
But Omi keeps him separated from his crew.
Still distrustful. Keeps Blackthorne isolated, vulnerable.
Then Rodriguez shows up.
That's another twist.
A big one. This Portuguese pilot, Rodriguez, seems comfortable with the Japanese, speaks with authority to Hiromatsu, claims responsibility for Blackthorne. It's confusing.
How do the samurai react?
They seem to accept him, despite him just barging in.
Yeah.
Suggests some existing relationships, maybe some complex deals already in place.
And he tries to bond with Blackthorne over another Englishman betraying him. Sort of, yeah. A shared negative experience. Could be genuine, could be a tactic. Meanwhile, Omi's just focused on getting the cannons off the ship. Practical.
While Igarashi is suspicious of Omi, more intrigue.
Always more layers.
Huh?
Igarashi warns about the Kasigi clan's future. Even Omi's little interactions with the women, Kiku and Midori, hint at subtle social rules and power plays.
So Blackthorne gets marched off with Yabu.
Yeah, but even as a prisoner, his pilot's mind is working, noting the terrain, looking for advantages, which leads him to his first meeting with the big man himself, Lord Toranaga.
How's that scene set up?
Very formal. Toranaga seems almost detached, focused on his falcon, not the barbarian. The priest is interpreting again.
Which adds another layer of potential manipulation, right? With loaded questions.
Exactly. The power dynamics in just trying to communicate are huge. And Toranaga's decision, ambiguous. Just detain him. Leaves Blackthorne hanging.
But we get inside Toranaga's head afterwards.
We do. And you see this brilliant, cautious strategist, wary of foreigners, wary of Ishido, concerned about Christian influence. Everything is calculated. Even thinking about Lady Ochiba's visit to Yedo fits into his plans.
We learn about his past, too. Nagakude, Kiri, the Taiko.
Glimpses that build his character. A complex, formidable leader shaped by history. And then there's that coded message, Plan 5, Crimson Sky. He's clearly prepared for war, long term.
Then Blackthorne meets Friar Domingo, another religious angle.
A Franciscan this time, and he hates the Jesuits. Tells this grim story about the San Felipe Galleon Spanish martyrs. Survived himself, but is deeply bitter, more fuel on the fire of inter-Christian rivalry.
And Yabu gives Blackthorne a smile.
Yeah, a strange moment of connection almost, like Yabu sees a fellow opportunist maybe. Despite the language barrier, the political gears keep grinding too, Ishido trying to delay the council, Toranaga seemingly at a disadvantage.
Hiromatsu is despairing at this point.
Completely distressed. He sees Toranaga looking weak, which is unthinkable to him. His loyalty is absolute. Then Toranaga drops the bombshell he's apparently accepting resignation.
Which shocks everyone.
Throws his own side into chaos. What's his game?
Mariko then reveals there's a Dutch spy among the Portuguese.
Yeah, adding another layer of intrigue. It's all about trade, control, information. Then there's that assassination attempt.
Aimed at Toranaga.
Turns out Blackthorne was the real target, which suddenly makes him much more important, doesn't it? Hiromatsu is furious at Toranaga's seeming inaction, wants to commit seppuku.
The code of honor again.
Deeply ingrained. Meanwhile, Alvito, the Jesuit priest, is plotting with Ferreira to kill Blackthorne at sea. But Toranaga is one step ahead. Protects Blackthorne, warns the Christians off.
Toranaga seems to be playing everyone.
Masterfully. We learn about Alvito's past, his Jesuit devotion, his struggle to understand the previous ruler's contradictory policies on foreigners. He's caught in the middle.
The Jesuits are deep in the politics.
Very deep. Balancing their goals with the shifting power between Toranaga and the Christian daimyo. And on a personal level, there's Mariko's fear of her husband Buntaro, her sense of duty. It's all interwoven.
Toranaga gives Alvito an ultimatum.
40 days. And the way he bows signifies a real shift. He's dictating terms now. Then Mariko has to leave Osaka, leaving Blackthorne behind. A big emotional moment.
Does Mariko explain more about samurai culture?
She explains samurai status applies to women too, gives some insight. But she also expresses her own weariness, her desire for peace. Then Toranaga uses Yabu as a decoy classic strategy.
And tells Mariko to bring Blackthorne along, contradicting himself, dismisses the ship concerns.
Yeah, confusing signals. There's definitely a hidden plan. Interestingly, the Japanese crew start respecting Blackthorne more when they hear he saved the ship in the storm. Mariko's surprised he hadn't mentioned it.
While Yabu is thinking of betrayal.
Always looking for an angle. But Mariko's loyalty to Toranaga is absolute, despite her faith. She'd even sacrifice her child if ordered. That level of commitment is hard for Blackthorne and us to grasp.
Blackthorne then refuses to give up his guns. Stands up to Omi.
Big moment. A real assertion of will. Shows how far he's come. Omi himself is conflicted. Who does he serve? Yabu. Toranaga. The power shifts are affecting everyone.
Yabu starts wondering if Blackthorne isn't just a barbarian.
Maybe a Hatamoto. A direct retainer. Blackthorne himself finds this strange peace in accepting his situation, focusing on survival, adapting.
The political games continue. Yabu noticing Lady Ochiba's status change, trying to buy Omi's loyalty with gifts.
Yabu's quite a piece of work, isn't he? Reflecting on life's transience one minute, eyeing young attendants the next. Then Jozen arrives, impresses Yabu by quickly adopting samurai ways.
And Naga advises Yabu to back Toranaga.
Bold move, tells him the guns, Blackthorne's knowledge. That's the key. Side with Toranaga for the win, forget Ishido. Makes a compelling case.
But Blackthorne's oblivious, focused on Mariko.
Pretty much. Learning Japanese phrases caught up in that connection, which deepens with the shared bath scene, right? They talk about their pasts, English food, customs, building real intimacy. He thinks about karma, thanks her for her help. He even notices Fujiko, his consort, seems different.
While Omi and Naga are debating the value of guns and barbarian knowledge.
Different views. Is it useful? Is it too dangerous? A core tension.
Blackthorne wakes up next to Fujiko. A quiet routine.
Yeah, more cultural immersion. But then he has that unsettling thought about the Japanese lack of a Western concept of sin, another huge cultural gap. A storm hits.
And he watches the village react.
Sees their resilience. Feels more part of it.
Until Toranaga shows up again.
Suddenly.
Back in Anjiro. Demands an immediate demonstration of the troops Blackthorne trained. Puts Yabu on the spot. Huge pressure.
And Buntaro, Mariko's husband, is there.
Oh, yes. His presence is chilling. Veiled threats, hatred of traitors, adulterers. We learn about his brutal past. Very dangerous man.
The formalities must be intense. Blackthorne receiving Buntaro. Super rigid hierarchy on display. The meal is incredibly awkward. Blackthorne just wants to keep his distance.
But then Buntaro beats Mariko.
Viciously, after Blackthorne steps in. And she just stoically refuses help. Her strength, her acceptance of her role is astounding. Toranaga watches his falcon feed like it's all just nature power dynamics.
How does Toranaga react to the beating?
Measured. His priority is his own strategy, his own safety. Gives instructions about Mariko and Blackthorne, but it's calculated. He ramps up the training, tells Naga to wear Blackthorne out. Naga subtly resists.
There's a moment with poetry.
Between Toranaga and Mariko, yeah, a shared cultural moment, a bit of peace. But Mariko uses it to privately urge Toranaga become Shogun. Be bold.
The disaster strikes, earthquake, landslide.
Nature's fury. Blackthorne is calm, watches the samurai response. He feels himself being samurai almost. His first thought is for Mariko and Fujiko.
He asked for a crew for the Erasmus. Plans the Navy.
Ambitious plans. Mariko seems hesitant. Toranaga's response is practical. Who pays for this? Blackthorne's keen to get to Yedo, feeling like one of Toranaga's men, a Hatamoto.
Toranaga's reward for Blackthorne, sending him to the tea house with Kiku.
Arranged via Mariko. Seems like a reward, but it's also strategic. He also privately promises Mariko a divorce after the conflict, always planning. Reflects on how even great men can fall.
Mariko negotiates the contract for Kiku.
Skillfully, yeah. With Gyoko, the tea house owner, hides who the real client is. Gyoko is shrewd, dramatic, but good at business.
Kiku agrees.
After some thought.
Yeah.
Guided by fate, a prophecy maybe? Gyoko is thrilled. She clearly cares for Kiku.
So Blackthorne and Kiku spend the night together.
A different kind of connection forms there.
But then urgent news arrives for Toranaga. Lord Zataki.
Another threat, another strategic move needed. Omi gives advice.
Blackthorne has a peaceful morning with Kiku. Then Omi arrives, coldly.
Yeah, time's up. Back to business. Kiku's farewell is quiet, uncertain.
Toranaga questions the price Mariko got for Kiku's contract.
Suspiciously low, he thinks. Reveals his miserly side, as Blackthorne notes.
Toranaga accepts the Taki's alliance scroll. Uses it.
Plays it perfectly. Uses it to delay, pressure Yabu. Grills Omi again. Mistrust everywhere.
Gyoko proposes a new class of geisha. Artists. not courtesans.
Interesting idea. Pitches it to Toranaga while asking a high price for Kiku's contract. She's always thinking ahead.
There's a scene with Alvido and a Japanese Christian convert.
Joseph, yeah. He renounces Christianity, gets excommunicated, defiantly asserts his Japanese identity. More cultural conflict.
Alvido reports the black ship arrived. Valuable cargo. Still trying to stay in Toranaga's good graces.
Balancing act for him. Then Toranaga makes that absolutely stunning announcement.
He resigns. For real this time.
Announces it publicly. Shockwaves. His samurai are stunned, despairing. Buntaro wants to die with him. Omi and Yabu are floored, apologizing.
How does Toranaga react to them?
Sharp rebuke for Yabu. Focuses on Zataki. Suddenly suspects Naga. His mind is always working, even in seeming defeat.
Alvido warns Blackthorne again. About Hishido?
Yeah.
Seppuku.
Tells him the danger is immense now, even as a samurai. Ishido wants him dead.
Blackthorne brushes it off. Mariko's worried about Buntaro finding out.
He's focused on the task at hand. Mariko lives with that constant fear. They have this brief, charged look amidst all the chaos in the castle.
A silent moment.
Acknowledging everything unspoken between them.
And then Blackthorne finds his ship. The Erasmus.
Intact. Ready to go. He's ecstatic, immediately planning their departure.
He talks to Toranaga about it. And divorce.
Brief, formal. Language barriers, tensions. Toranaga remains vague, ambiguous.
They leave the castle together, Blackthorne and Mariko.
Descending through it, a brief touch, hinting at that deep connection despite the danger all around.
And then right at the end of this part, he bumps into Vanek, his old crewmate.
Inieto, yeah. A real shock. Just highlights the incredible contrast in their fates since the shipwreck.
So looking back at Blackthorne's journey through Shogun, it really is this powerful collision of cultures, isn't it?
Absolutely. We've seen loyalty, betrayal, the raw struggle for power, and just this amazing human ability to adapt.
Remember that initial feeling we talked about, finding yourself utterly lost in an alien world?
Yeah, and having gone through Blackthorne's experiences, you see the immense challenges, but also the transformations that come from navigating that kind of unknown. It's not just about places, it's about ideas, beliefs, too.
We really do recommend diving deeper into Shogun itself or similar stories. They offer so much insight.
A truly rich exploration of these timeless human themes.
And of course, you can check out our other podcasts for more discussions like this. Plus, for that AI-powered analysis of books like Shogun, remember our YouTube channel, Mindful Moments.
So, thinking about Blackthorne's transformation, his way of navigating 17th century Japan, what part of that journey resonates most with you, the listener?
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Of the potential for learning and growth whenever we encounter something or someone unfamiliar in the world or even within ourselves.
It certainly does.
Okay, now it's over to you. Please subscribe to RR Podcasts so you don't miss out. Share this exploration of Shogun if you found it interesting.
And if you want to read the full epic, check out the purchase link in the show notes. It does help support us.
Most importantly, keep thinking critically. Think about the information you take in, and maybe consider how you adapt and learn when faced with the unfamiliar in your own life.